Our first speaker for the evening will be Dr. Vijay Patil, Chancellor and President, Dr. DYPatil, deemed to be University, and President of the DYPatil Sports Academy, former President of the Mumbai Cricket Association, and a friend of all of us, especially Marcus. So I would like to request Dr. Vijay Patil to come here, please.
Good evening, everyone. It's such a pleasure to meet so many of my friends from MCA who are present over here on this occasion. It's been a while when I last attended a cricket function, and today it's a really special day that we are celebrating the birthday of a legend, and we have the presence of so many stalwarts, so many lovers of the game, and who followed cricket for so long. Yeah. I think today I'm not going to really speak about what Sachin has accomplished, because he's universally been rated as one of the greatest players ever to grace the game. And you could count only a handful like Sir Donald Bradman, Sir Garfield Sobers, Sachin Tendulkar. And probably he would have been one of the most researched players in the history of the game. And there's so many accomplished people sitting over here, like so many of the others. Some of them have shared dressing rooms with him. Some of them have authored books on, on his career. And so they'll have a lot of interesting stories to say about this absolutely jewel of India, a jewel of the world there. I recollect the time, I've got to go back a bit back into my memories. It was about 86, 87. I grew up in an era when we used to follow the other little master of Indian cricket, the great Sunil Gavaskar. And growing up as a 9-year-old, my cricketing recollections began with Sunny's exploits in the West Indies and across decades, across different countries, Australia, England, India. And he had such a deep imprint in my mind. And I recollect the time when the last test match was being played. That was the last test match which Gavaskar was going to play. And that was the Bangalore test against Pakistan. It was a rank turner, the ball was turning square, and it was just an absolutely unbelievable inning. And after that inning was over and then he walked back to the pavilion, there was a sense of vacuum that all of us experienced as cricket lovers, growing up in that era. And for me, it almost seemed that, a part of me had left. Being down is not a word, I cannot actually express in words what I felt that day, but I just felt that my life would not be the same. It would not be the joy that that man had given to me in my life, and his career was coming to an end. And I could not contemplate cricket would exist the way I followed it. The passion which I had for the game would be the same after the retirement of Sunil Gavaskar. But, incredible things happened, and it was almost like while the sun set on one great Indian stalwart, another, it was the dawn of another era. And at about that time, Sachin was making his, navigating his way through school cricket. I didn't know him then. I used to read about his exploits. They used to occupy, some space in some of the magazines at that point of time, Times of India, Indian Express, and so many other magazines. And you could hear that, he was making waves in Harris Shield, in Guile Shield. And then, of course, everyone remembers his debut in against Pakistan and the extraordinary career that he's had since then. My first recollection, my first meeting, and this is some of my personal memories about how, I had the opportunity I had when I first got to meet him. It was in the year 91, 92. I remember there were two avid cricket lovers. They used to be deeply involved in the organization of games. Mr. Anand, late, I think, Sri Anand Rege and Prakash Kelkar. So they reached out to me one day and they said that, Achrekar sir is Sachin Tendulkar's coach. And, there's a request that's come in from the players that we want to hold a benefit match for Achrekar sir. And this was in the year 91, 92. Of course, that was something that immediately aroused my interest because already I was quite a cricket crazy person. And I said, yes, definitely. I mean, that's something that I'm excited about being a part of. And so then it was decided that, it was decided that a meeting between Sachin and me would be organized. And I still have such a vivid memory of that day that it was the year 91, 92. And I used to live in Worli, in Madhuli, which is about on Worli, just opposite Lotus Cinema in those days. And I was waiting down in the foyer to receive Sachin Tendulkar. And he arrived in his Maruti. I think that Maruti now features in the advertisements. It didn't say much, just came up. I took him up to my house. I'd asked the kitchen to prepare some of his favorite meals because I'd got that input that he likes fish and he likes other things. Didn't say much. As an 18-year-old, all he said was that, that Achrekar सरांसाठी आम्हाला एक benefit match घ्यायची आहे. तर तुम्ही ती कोल्हापूरमध्ये तुम्ही जर केली तर आम्हाला आनंद होईल बरं. And of course, this was something right down, I considered it a privilege that, that suggestion was made to me. And we agreed on that. And in 1992, a benefit game was held in Kolhapur. And I recollect the day, it was he got the entire Indian team. Mohammad Azharuddin was the captain at that point of time. And the Mumbai squad played against the Indian squad. The late Sri Ajit Wadekar was the manager of the Indian team. He was kind of looking at managing the Indian team. And the entire team flew in by chartered flight to Kolhapur. And it was raining cats and dogs. I mean, as if, there was no tomorrow. The ground was completely flooded. And I was, again, I was quite nervous about whether this match would take place or not. And about 35,000 people from Kolhapur, they've never had this exposure to big-time cricket. And they had all crammed into that stadium and they had filled it up completely. And the ground was completely flooded. There was, sawdust being brought in. Literally, म्हणजे तिथे पोती आणून पोती आम्ही तिथे लावली होती. आणि आम्हाला आता वाटलं की आता ही मॅच काय होणार नाही कारण त्याच्यानंतरच लगेच ऑस्ट्रेलियाला पुढे आपली इंडियन टीम जायची होती तर I never felt that they would take the risk. But then Sachin reached out to the entire team. He said that nothing, this is Sir's benefit match and that we'll play. And it was quite amazing that, you had all these international cricketers who were playing India at the highest level. They came up and turned up and played that match. So what I found remarkable, in that whole exercise, normally when people reach a certain age, they reach a certain level of, maturity. You start thinking at the larger purpose of life. You start looking at philanthropy. You start looking about how you can do good to others. But to see I think at that time he was probably about 18 or 19. To see that he had that great desire and that urge that there was his guru, Achrekar sir. He needed support in terms of a benevolent fund. And there is this 18-year-old student coming up and making that a priority in his, in his career. And that was quite amazing when I reflect back on that incident. And I think about the kind of sincerity that he's had for his guru. And I think that's something, an example and a lesson for all of us. I see so many young, players sitting over here. We have another award-winning coach over here in Dinesh Lad sir. I mean, I must congratulate you for winning the Dronacharya Award. He's mentored so many great, extraordinary cricketers, in his life. But I think these are the things that you should never forget. The people, the individuals who train you in your formative years, who make you what you are. So that was my first experience and meeting with the great Sachin Tendulkar. After that, of course, his career just took off. I'm not going to elaborate on where his career took him because, it's all been recorded in the history of a cricketer. And our paths kind of diverged in a sense. I got engaged in, in my areas of activities while Sachin was setting the whole cricket fields all across the world on fire with his extraordinary exploits on the cricket field there. Then, of course, there were a few other occasions when, I found, the human side of Sachin which had a deep impact in my life. I remember on a personal level, I may not have met him. I mean, there were situations when I had personal challenges, professional challenges. And to me, watching a Sachin Tendulkar bat, I used to get immersed in his batting. When I used to watch him, sometimes the result of the match, and that might look like a very selfish thing to say, but sometimes the result was immaterial. I would get so engrossed in the art of his batting, in the way, it was just something else. Only a true lover of cricket, only somebody who appreciates the nuances of the game would understand, what all that meant to somebody. And so many challenging circumstances, professionally, personally. But whenever I've had these challenges, I think cricket and this great man was a real savior for me in my life. Post that, of course, I remember one occasion when Abby called me up in 2000. We had just started the academy. And he told me he's received a call. And the call was for Bunty Kamli. He said, Sachin is asking that, whether we can take care of Bunty Kamli is Vinod's brother, that we can, accommodate him, Vinod Kamli's brother. So whether we could take care of him and, assist him in his job. So I readily, this thing. And that showed a huge, that showed compassion, that showed a sensitivity to taking care of people who've been been part of your cricketing journey. And the same thing, I remember even during when the TMJ Academy was opened at our facility. And at that time, Sachin made it a point that, Vinod and Sachin's friendship and the kind of bond that they've enjoyed since early childhood has been something that's been quite, it's been extraordinary. And to witness that kind of bond between the two of them, they grow up playing the cricket parallelly. And I recollect the time when we established the TMJ SRT Academy. Sachin reached out to me and said that, we are going to make Vinod as the chief coach for the SRT Academy, the TMJ Tendulkar Academy over here at DYPatil Stadium. And it was fantastic to have, even if it was for a short while, to have Vinod on our campus helping train the future, the sports students of our academy. So there were numerous such occasions. I've had the good fortune after his career has got over. I've had the good fortune of I consider him a friend. I've shared some great moments with him. When he's there with me, I don't do any of the talking. I'm just like a sponge. I'm listening, and all his friends will agree that when Sachin is speaking, whether it's in a personal moment or when it's in a private moment, all you do is you just absorb like a sponge what he has to say. And he's been just such a remarkable person. And when I kind of look at his personality as a whole, sometimes it's quite unreal to build, think that such a person with those kind of achievements, that kind of talent can truly, be so grounded, so humble, so down to earth. It's just remarkable. I think it's a great lesson for all of us that, humility is very important. I mean, my father, Dada, he always says that, he uses these words that ego is death of life and death of ego is real life. I think in many ways, Sachin's conduct whether it's on the cricket field or outside the cricket field, has been something that has been respectful of his opponents, respectful of the people around him. And I think a lot of that has got to do with, his extraordinary parents. They say in life there are a couple of things which are not in your hands. The kind of parents you have. We cannot choose who your father is going to be, who your mother is going to be. And I think Sachin has been very fortunate on that front. He's had some, extraordinary parents. And also I must also make a mention of his life partner, the very graceful and absolutely enterprising Anjali Tendulkar. I've seen both of them together, and I've seen the way that, they've navigated the complexities of leading the kind of life that he has, both in his professional and his professional space. So I think it's just, to all the young people, I would say that he's just such a great example for all of us to emulate and for all of us to follow and for all of us to be inspired with. And one of the things that I would like to tell, all the young people that, and so many of his colleagues who've seen him practice, train from the age of 12, 13, work out hours and hours in the sun. You've heard stories about how he's been, Achekar sir used to take him on his bike and, drive him from one match to another match where another inning would start. I mean, that's completely, it just boggles your mind. Because how often does that happen? Maybe very rare, that's something, So he's worked hours and hours, trained hours and hours, and it's over a span of, he's created his career over a span of 3 decades. None of that has come easily. It's been a lot of hard work, toil, passion, determination for, what you want to achieve. It's not happened overnight. Although in Sachin's case, you could argue that he reached places where most people would take probably decades to reach or would not reach at all. Yeah. So in his case, probably he reached all those summits at a very accelerated pace. Yeah. But things take time. You've got to be extremely patient. You've got to really work hard. A lot of times, I find young people, and I see a lot of them, everyone wants to be a Sachin Tendulkar, or everyone wants to be a great personality in his life at a very young age. But, that's the summit which you're looking at. Before you reach that summit, there's a mountain that you have to climb there. And that's very important. I think for you, it's important for you to remember that there's a journey to be traversed. You've got to work really, really hard to reach that summit there. And that's something, and for that you need tremendous amount of patience there. So patience is a quality that's absolutely fundamental for success in life. I could talk so much more, but I don't want to take too much of a time because there'll be some very interesting personal recollections with so many of my, my friends who are all here. I would have loved to mention each and every one, separately because they all deserve that. But I think I'm not going to take too much time. As I said, some of them have shared dressing rooms with him. Some have probably had a cutting chai or a vada pav with him sitting on, म्हणजे कठ्यावर बसून तिथे त्यांनी चहा पेलेले. त्या गोष्टी सगळ्या आपल्याला सांगतील. बर्वे सरांनी त्याला अगदी लहानपणापासून त्याला तुम्ही बघितलेलं आहे. तर I think we'll wait for, I'm eagerly waiting to hear, listen to what are the recollections about the great Sachin Tendulkar. All I would say is that I've been very fortunate, all of us have been very fortunate that we've been born in a generation where we witnessed this great man play. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.